Redskins have until May 3rd, but according to NFL.com, they are more than likely to pick up RG3's fifth-year option for 2016. The option will pay him $16.1 million. He's due to make a little over $3 million this season. In 3 seasons with the Redskins, RG3 is 14-21, 40 touchdown passes, 23 interceptions. Stephen A., are you surprised by the fact that they're picking up his option, $16.1 million?
I'm absolutely not surprised. I am utterly and totally shocked. I can't believe it. Listen, I support RG3. I wish him nothing but the best. I root for him because I think he's taking an entirely bad rap. I think people have looked for every excuse to condemn this kid. He's made some mistakes in terms of focusing on his brand as much as he was focusing on football, and he didn't need to do that. But as I'm sure we have learned, based on the discussions that we have had, this guy is not a bad dude. He doesn't get in trouble. He hasn't committed any crimes or anything like that. It's just a difference of opinion, and you would think, based on how people talk about him sometimes, that he did all of those things, and I think it's grossly unfair. Having said all of that, there is no way in hell I would have picked up this option on RG3 because he hasn't proven to me that he's worthy of it yet. His rookie year, he performed. He went 9-6. We get that as a starter. The last 2 years, he was 3-10. And then this past season, he was 2-5. That is a 5-20 record as a starting quarterback in the NFL. That is winning 25% of your games. And I am going to pick up a $16 million option on you, not even for next season when you get a chance to prove yourself and make amends. But this option is for the 2016 season. That means the season beyond next season. This is shocking. It makes no sense. I'm happy for him because I love to see the brothers get their money. But Daniel Snyder, this is kind of, it's an idiotic move. It's an idiotic move. It doesn't make any sense because I need to see what RG3, and I believe he would do well next year, Skip, but I need to see it. I need to see that he could play with for Gruden. I need to see that Gruden doesn't mind that he's not your quintessential prototypical drop-back passer. I need to make sure that Gruden isn't salivating for his own Andy Dalton via Colt McCoy or somebody else, or Kirk Cousins. I need to see that to believe that in order for RG3 to excel at Washington. And there's no proof that I'm going to see that. So why would I pick up a $16 million option for him for 2 seasons from now? It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Not only do I not think this is an idiotic move, I think it's a brilliant move on the part of Dan Snyder. And I'm going to suspect he was behind this move, if not driving this move. You say there's no way in hell you would have picked up this option, and I say there are 16.1 million reasons in heaven I would have picked it up. I'm here to say that RG3 has not once been healthy the last 2 years. I couldn't recognize him because I don't think he could trust his legs. We know about the knee injury. We know about the ankle injury. I'm going to say that Dan Snyder believes that for the first time since RG3's rookie year, he will be 100% healthy going into this July's training camp and hopefully into next season. And if Jay Gruden can't get on board with this, then Stephen A., Jay Gruden needs to move along to his next job because he was hired, he was commissioned to click with RG3. And I, for one, am sick and tired of the public pot shots that Jay Gruden has constantly taken at his injured quarterback, RG3. And I'm going to remind everybody.
We agree there.
It's not like, okay, but RG3, it's not like he didn't prove anything in the National Football League. All I know is, as a rookie starter in the NFL for the Washington Redskins, he threw 20 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions. He led a team to the NFC East title, and he led a team to a 14-0 lead against Seattle in a home playoff game before he got hurt. At least he tweaked his knee, and then we know what happened later in that game when he wrecked his knee. So don't tell me that he hasn't proven he can do it at an extremely high level. offensive rookie of the year level. So let him get healthy. Let him get comfortable with a coach or vice versa. It's up to Jay Gruden to figure out how to click with RG3 now. How do you replace RG3? It's not with Kirk Cousins or Colt McCoy. I'm sorry. He's a stud, he's a star, and he will return to that level.
Skip, they have the number 5 overall pick in the NFL draft. There are a bevy of ways they can do it. That's number 1. Number 2, I am in no way advocating that Colt McCoy or, Kirk Cousins should be his replacement. Number 3, I completely and totally agree with you on Gruden. He's got to handle his business. He was there because of his credentials as a quarterback coach. Whatever his issues are, you're supposed to fix it. No excuses. He's the one that should be under the microscope. I totally get that. But you're also asking me to ignore the last 2 years and rely strictly upon an injury-free rookie season in which RG3 balled in order to pay him $16 million more 2 years from now. Not this season coming up, the next one. That's my problem. I'm like, why can't I see what he does first? And if I don't pick up the option, that's fine. He's free to go elsewhere. Well, RG3, if you produce in the nation's capital, I'm Daniel Snyder, the billionaire. I'll make sure I re-up you. You have the freedom to go elsewhere, but if he has such a close relationship with Daniel Snyder, why should the Redskins have to commit beyond next season? Why can't they wait and see what he brings them before they commit to him long-term or picking up the $16 million option? I think that stands to reason. I think this is not a business decision at all. This is personal because Daniel Snyder loves his boy some RG3. I get it. I appreciate it. Most of us would love to be in that kind of position. But from a business perspective, if you are a Washington Redskins fan, this move tells you we're clearly not going after a quarterback in this upcoming NFL draft, which means as a result, what we're going to do is buffer and build everything else, but our season is still reliant upon the services of RG3, just like it has been the last 2 years when he's going 5-20 as a starter. RG3, the person, I'm in complete support of. I've told him that. But I've also said I'm going to hold you accountable for what I see on the field. And what I have seen on the field over the last 2 years hasn't been much. Period.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If I told you right now the Redskins could land Marcus Mariota or have RG3, which way would you go? Mariota or RG3? Right here, right now.
I would say to you, I would probably go Mariota, not because he's a better quarterback, Skip, because number 1, he's healthy, and number 2, he's cheaper. So if you're healthy and you're cheaper,
okay,
I'm going to go that route.
And I'm here to tell you that would be an idiotic decision. I don't think Marcus Mariota is going to be instant great. RG3 was instant great in this league. Okay? So, look, Daniel Snyder, it might be that he's got sort of this pet feeling for RG3 and he coddles him, blah, blah, blah. He also, I believe, saw greatness in RG3 on an NFL field. And I applaud Dan Snyder for having the guts to stick with it and not jump ship before RG3 could get completely healthy.
But my hesitancy is twofold, Skip. Threefold, actually. I know Mariota can't touch RG3. I'm not comparing them skill-wise. What I'm saying is, number 1, I don't know how healthy RG3 is going to be. Number 2, I don't know what bridges have been burned in Washington because I'm not completely sold on that whole locker room culture, camaraderie, chemistry thing that we've been looking for that hasn't been in existence there over the last 2 years. And then last but not least, Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden, the chemistry overall, which in part may be due to the perceived relationship between Daniel Snyder and RG3, which is more than a perception, by the way, when you consider this latest news scheduled to come down the pike, combined with RG3's help. that just tells me that even though I think RG3 is going to be big time, I think he may be better served somewhere else than in Chocolate City, the nation's capital. That's my personal opinion. Now, obviously, if he gets healthy, he can do some things. And Mariota's not better than him, but I'm looking at the obstacles that have been self-inflicted to some degree. And I don't know how easy it is to overcome that. And I'm not going to invest $16 million 2 years from now when I don't even know what you're going to do next season.
Okay, I agree. Some of the obstacles were self-inflicted, no doubt about that. But what did we hear from Ryan Clark the last time he sat with us at the debate desk? Ryan Clark became a leader of that Washington Redskins team last year. He told us he would bet going forward on RG3.
I don't care.
I said, thank you for saying that, and you disagreed.
You want me to tell you why I disagree?
I'm taking Ryan Clark to my bank.
You want me to tell you why I'm not taking Ryan Clark? You want me to tell you why I think you're foolish for taking Ryan Clark to the bank? And why I will not take our boy Ryan Clark to the bank on this one? Because he's not in that locker room any longer. If he were in that locker room, I'm sold. Because he's got the kind of personality that can squash all of that noise. But without him there anymore, I ask you a question, Skip Bayless. Who's the leader of the Washington Redskins right now? Take your time. I'll wait.
Robert Griffin III.
Thank you. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because right now, we don't know what level of respect and deference they're willing to give him. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's fair. I'm a fan of RG3's, just like you are. I know the brother can ball when healthy. I know he's got skills. And I also believe him to be a really decent and good person who's been railroaded in certain respects in terms of his character.
Yes.
But with all of that being said, the fact is that he's 5-20 over his last 25 starts as a quarterback in the NFL. Who you leading with that record? Who? Who you going to lead?
Okay. But a leader in the locker room last year, Ryan Clark, knows the troubled dynamic of that locker room. And even knowing that, even though Ryan won't be there to try to mend some fences for RG3, he said he would take him to the bank. I'm taking that to the bank. I'm sorry. That was a big deal for Ryan to say that, because Ryan can be honest to a fault. And if he were not sold on RG3, he would indicate that in little or big ways.
Nobody's questioning the honesty of Ryan Clark. I know he's an honest guy. He's an honorable guy. I genuinely like him. Happy and proud to have him as a part of the network. Ain't nobody knocking Ryan Clark here. I'm simply saying that doesn't make him flawless. He could be wrong. And I think that what Ryan Clark heard and what Ryan Clark saw was because Ryan Clark was in that locker room. And if you had acted up, you were going to have to deal with him. Now, you might have guys that are bigger and stronger that could sit up there and try to slap Ryan Clark upside his head. But Ryan Clark will hit him back. And more importantly, when you get beyond the juvenile physicality stuff, then you've got to deal with the cerebral individual that he is as a player rep as well, who's highly intelligent, and they know that. And as a result, they're not only are they not going to mess with Ryan Clark, they're not going to mess around Ryan Clark. But now that he's gone from that locker room, I'm not sure it's going to be the same. It's the Redskins we talk about here, with Daniel Snyder as the owner. Come on now. You rely on that? Please.
I'm going to rely on that because Dan Snyder, he just repositioned his football team to compete for an NFC East championship. That's what just happened.
We'll see. Hopefully so. Hopefully. But don't act like you know, coming off a 5-20 record over the last 25 starts. We don't know.
Gentlemen, what we do know is when we come back, did you catch the end of the Bulls-Bucks game on Saturday? There's a guy who did something that was interesting. His name was Bayless. He came through from Milwaukee, not Skip Bayless, of course. Way to go, right. We discussed if the Bulls can close it out.
Hold it, Kerry.
Yes.
I didn't know that Bayless and basketball were allowed to be mentioned in the same sentence. I'm sorry, I learned something new.
Apparently they can. We'll be right back.
He doesn't get in trouble. He hasn't committed any crimes or anything like that. It's just a difference of opinion, and you would think, based on how people talk about him sometimes, that he did all of those things, and I think it's grossly unfair. Having said all of that, There is no way in hell I would have picked up this option on RG3 because he hasn't proven to me that he's worthy of it yet. His rookie year, he performed. He went 9-6. We get that as a starter. I am utterly and totally shocked. I can't believe it. Listen, I support RG3. I wish him nothing but the best. I root for him because I think he's taking an entirely bad rap. I think people have looked for every excuse to condemn this kid. He's made some mistakes in terms of focusing on his brand as much as he was focusing on football, and he didn't need to do that. But as I'm sure we have learned, based on the discussions that we have had, this guy is not a bad dude.
Redskins have until May 3rd, but according to NFL.com, they are more than likely to pick up RG3's fifth-year option for 2016. The option will pay him $16.1 million. He's due to make a little over $3 million this season. In 3 seasons with the Redskins, RG3 is 14-21, 40 touchdown passes, 23 interceptions. Stephen A., are you surprised by the fact that they're picking up his option, $16.1 million?
I'm absolutely not surprised. Beyond next season, this is shocking. It makes no sense. I'm happy for him because I love to see the brothers get their money. But Daniel Snyder, this is kind of... It's an idiotic move. That's just it. It's an idiotic move. It doesn't make any sense because I need to see what RG3, and I believe he would do well next year, Skip, but I need to see it. I need to see that he could play with for Gruden. I need to see that Gruden doesn't mind that he's not your quintessential prototype. The last 2 years, he was 3-10, and then this past season, he was 2-5. That is a 5-20 record as a starting quarterback in the NFL. That is winning 25% of your games. And I am going to pick up a $16 million option on you, not even for next season when you get a chance to prove yourself and make amends. But this option is for the 2016 season. That means the season beyond.